Welcome everyone to the Sunny Coast's very own podcast called the Referral Wave, riding the tide to success. My name's Tony Cross, and by day I have a car brokering business called Drive Connect. But today I'm here with Josh Butler from Harcourts Community up in Buderim, and we're here to chat all things BNI, even if it's in the early stages of his experience. We're here to go through it. So welcome, Josh.
Thanks, Tony. Really appreciate it, mate. And congratulations on your MC gig yesterday for our BNI Awards. It was quite insightful and you kept us engaged, mate.
Yeah, no, look, it went well, and hopefully there was a bit in there for everyone, especially our asking some of the older members why they'd been there. So I think you said earlier you've only been a member for a few months, but there's Stuart and Duncan, those guys in there nearly 20 years. So
yeah, it's pretty. It was pretty confronting, and that's not in a bad sense, to see that sort of buy-in for the community to be there for that long. So obviously worth it for them and people that I'll reach out to have a bit of a chat to as well, to make sure I'm doing the best and what I can do for my BNI chapter.
yeah, correct, and that was part of that. And I'd really want people to go and have a one-to-one with some of those members. And there's a couple of people like Pedals and like Les. So Les was a BNI member in South Africa and has joined again here. So there's people that have actually moved states and countries, but when they've repositioned themselves, made BNI a priority to get involved. So there's some good stories there. I'd encourage anyone listening to seek them out. So look, let's get back to you. Tell us a bit about your business. We know where you are, the beautiful Hampton-style building up top of the hill of Buderim we all drive past. Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, so I actually made the move almost at the same time to Harcourts from another agency at the same time that I was getting accepted into BNI. So it's been a pretty hectic run since November last year. Used to be a professional golfer, so I don't know how that all works to become a salesman in through there, but always had a bit of a nous through sales. First job was in Aim at All Sports, which now was Rebel or whatever it is now, but it was always been able to communicate and build relationships. I've been really good with that. But Harcourts is a great avenue. The Jared McCarthy and McCarthy's running through here. Jared was actually part of a chapter in BNI when he was first starting up through this. So it was always something I wanted to get interested in. I've seen the success stories that a few people have been in, and even the chapter that I'm part of, BNI Aura. Cassie Kennedy, who's part of town, I've seen her business take off in the 3 years that I've been a part of the real estate game, and how that's been helped with BNI. It was something I really wanted to get involved with, and really happy that I am now, and even taken on the presidency for the next foreseeable future as well. So hopefully we don't stuff that up for everyone as well.
Wow, you are definitely going in the deep end. So
say yes to everything, I think, is probably one of the things I can say that I do, but it doesn't stuff around this stage. It's pretty overwhelming, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, well, you just get right in there and get it done. So look, in the old days, I can remember, my old man saying to me, now, if you want to network properly, son, you've got to learn to play golf and you've got to learn to play tennis, because all the deals are done on the golf course. Now, that said, and you're a professional golfer, and knowing those pearls of wisdom did exist back in the 80s, what led you to joining BNI and taking your working off the golf course?
Well, look, I will say saying professional golfer has got me into a few doors, which is hilarious, and has won me a few jobs and clients and over the years. But I guess the real big thing, I have to shout out to Megan Thompson, who's part of Good Law, and obviously our conveyancer for our chapter 2. Funny story, I don't really save conveyancers or solicitors' numbers all that often, because you deal with them when you need to, and they do what they do when they do it. But for some reason, I had Megan saved. I was interested in going and seeing a meeting at the BNI, and Megan's number was in my phone. So I was like, how do we know each other? And pieced it through. She's been an amazing help, not only as a mentor, but also getting me into the BNI and into Aura, and just being able to explain to me how it works, and the giver's gain, and that's some of, I guess, my core values as a person as well. I believe in karma, and karma will come back to whatever form it needs to be, good or bad. But yeah, the whole BNI ethos of helping each other for my industry to build those relationships and be transparent and accountable. All of that sort of lined up, obviously, with what the values of the BNI is. So, yeah, to Megan Thompson, and look to Cass Kennedy as well. She put my name forward to take over her side when she left through. Yeah, two really good people that I respect, and yeah, had a great opportunity to start in here, the Aura chapter.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, you've got a couple of good people there that can show you the ropes, and I'm sure you've already asked them a lot of questions. So, moving forward, how are you going to use the BNI network to enhance your networking?
And it's funny because obviously a few of your interviews with Pedals and Janice and Team JP and even Fiona Reed in one of your earlier episodes, we're all in the same gig. Um, the perception of a real estate agent is not great. We'll be honest. And unfortunately, I think you're probably seeing all those really awful cases and situations that happen. You're really seeing the 1% of most of the agents that are out there. And the coast is such a tight knit community that you get one bad word and everyone knows about it. But for me, having the ability, and I've put together a booklet that everyone gets. Anyone that speaks to me, I send it to email, text. When we're going out to appraisals or even just at open homes, there's a booklet that I have, and it's called the Trusted Advisors Book. Bills and Team JP, I believe, have their trusted trades, but for me, it's everyone in our chapter. A little blurb about these are the people that I've used either personally or in business, and they'll get the job done for you. And there's been two instances in the last 3 months that I've had. Let's say, for instance, a building and pest. So our pestie that does actually the Harcourts community pest jobs now is part of our chapter, but she's also someone that works closely with our building inspector that I use. So being able to trust and know that this is going to happen and this is going to work really well, and these are the people to move forward and how that is. It's just a really good feeling for me to not worry and not put worry or any angst into something that can be quite stressful for everyone. So, we had a building pest come through. There was an issue with this. We had to get a plumber's pressure test done. I had a plumber to come out the next day. We had to get some some tile seal. Had our builder to send out their tiler to do this within 24 hours. And in the space of a building and pest floors, they could be 7 days. You might only have 24 hours to get it done. So, these ability to say, hey, this is what we can do, this is what can get done, is just it's such a added value and something that people can't offer all the time. And look, off the back of that, for me, again, it's the giver's game. Like, as much as it sounds silly, you're not asking for those things to happen. You just know they're going to do it. And off the back of that, you do help someone, you do a good job, they're going to help you out regardless with either word of mouth or use those trades as well. So, yeah, it's been great to have those confidence in those people that are in the community for us as well.
Yeah, it's a common theme. As I mean, obviously we've had a whole raft of different people on the podcast, but especially in that property manager and real estate space, and it's quite good to see. Every real estate agent I've had on here is different, and they're different in some way or the other. And that's great for everyone concerned. But the common thread is they just love that system and that dependability, and they all get their own little network. And I was only saying it yesterday on a podcast to a lady that when Paul got up and talked there briefly at the awards, and he said, he's a commercial cleaner. He's been on jobs, and there's like 7 BNI people there, and they're like. He calls it, as I said yesterday, he calls it the BNI mafia. But, he's like, how did you pull this together? And he goes, mate, it's the family, right? Just forget about it.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah.
And that's good for business, not only for you, because, I mean, people look at you and go, geez, how does he pull that off? Like, he's fantastic. But it just takes the stress and the hassle and the worry out of you, isn't it? Because you're ringing someone, and if they're in that BNI group, they're like, right, Josh, I'm there and I'm going to do it. Whereas if it wasn't, you're sitting there going, oh, God, I hope they turn up. Otherwise, this deal's going to go through the floor. Like,
yeah. And mate, even, I did, lucky enough, get one of my referrals. And, I think the chapter, the real estate part of that, whether it's property or the sales, can be quite a driver for referrals to the whole group. But you know, I got one from our Sean McAnally, who's part of Mason Finance. He's in our group chapter for the finance. I got a call from them to help someone list and sell their house, and you know, we had all people involved in that weekend to help them out. We're still trying to help them out getting into their new place with Sean as well. So, you know, the business transaction is not just one, it can be, you know, 7 or 8 degrees of separation. I love that. It just means everyone's getting a piece of the cake and we're all doing a good job. And yeah, the trusted advisors is how I put it, rather than trusted trades. Nothing on Team JP or anything, but they're advisors. They're advisors for me means they're professional, they're apt, they're experienced, and those are the people that you can trust. So yeah.
Oh yeah, look, and it doesn't matter whether you're Harcourts there or them down the road. Like, you know, I mean, we're all working the same system and we're all using it to our own benefit. And just like they want to share the people, or I want to share the people in my chapter, you do the same thing. I think it's fantastic. It's one of those things. I love seeing visitors come along to the meeting, and you know, you're telling them that the trade sheet's in front, they're all tucking it under their arm and walking out with it. And look, and there's stats, and I can't tell you what they are off the top of my head, but there's stats about the percentage of business that gets done from visitors. You know what I mean? Like, not necessarily BNI, but and it's a good number, right? It's a solid number. These people that come in and just and that's what I try and get people's heads around when they're inviting visitors. Like, you know, don't think you got to invite someone to join, or you know, or you just got to get a number down that month. So invite, you know, mum's girlfriend along, or you know, Auntie's right? Invite someone along that can take advantage of the people in your room, right? You know, it works that way as well. And look, every now and then you're going to get someone that joins, but yeah, look, that's good. I'm glad to see that it's helping you solve. Look, you know, I mean, we say, you know, one of the questions is how do you use BNI to help solve any problems? Like, it's not really that, is it? It's just how are you working the network to help you, you know, and it's fantastic to see you taking advantage of that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you mentioned it, the whole tech and AI side of things. I think it's going to hit every business at whatever stage, and you know, I'm not smart enough to understand it. ChatGPT does help a fair bit,
Yeah.
but I think the human element and the professionalism and expertise that comes from that, it just can be replaced until whatever portion it does. But you need to have that human interaction. You need to be able to do that, and a Google search can be manipulated for what it is. So if you've got someone that they know, they trust, they've used, they've got stories that have helped them, I would buy or sell or use them myself. That's how I see it.
Yeah, we can Google, or you know, AI, you know, to the last degree, right? And find answers and solutions. But and that's why you know, I heard Dr. Ivan Meisner asked the other day whether, you know, does this face-to-face networking going to die out with the introduction of AI? He says, no, it's just going to grow, right? Because yes, we are starting to place an importance on having AI, but at the end of the day, we still need that human touch, right? No one's going to go and transact their $2 million house on the top of the hill in Buderim with, you know, with a call center or an AI person, right?
Correct.
So yeah, no, look, that's good. Hey, let's talk about some standout stories. I know it's only been a few months. You mentioned you got that listing, and that might be the story, but run us through something exciting that's happened for you in that 3 months.
Look, the listing's great. For me, again, my sort of core values is that the listing comes from, you know, your professionalism and what you've done, and being able to be adding value to everyone. But I think probably in my short time for BNI success story itself, it's seeing the chapter. And it's funny because we've had visitors in the room from other chapters sort of talk about our love in the room and our sort of relationships are there. So we've got one of our Tyler who's part of a hairdresser, Lavender Jane, and she's gone through some really tough health battles for probably the space of 6 months. So outside of where I was, and coming in halfway, just seeing everyone get around her, even electricians and our builder, and you know, even helping her move a studio. But to see that support within the group, like you know, people have got your back. And for me, I think that's the greatest, you know, sign of a good culture. I know that's sort of a buzzword, but you want to be around people that want to be around you, and for me, that's a great success story, just to be early on and see how people are treated. And hopefully, for her, we did a little social thing. It sounds like her business is still rocking and rolling, everything probably even better than when she was. So, we'll be all there to support her through. But that's probably the biggest success for me, is just seeing what we can, as our chapter, really give to our members as well, outside of the business side of things. That's for me, that's probably the most special at the moment.
The ultimate giver's gain, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The ultimate giver's gain. Like, we talk about it all the time, but there you go. It's like, hey, Josh, tell me a story about something good happened in your business, and you tell me about how everyone gets around Jane. So, yeah, I think you picked it up pretty quickly. 3 months in.
I'm doing my best.
But how good is that? How good is that, going to a chapter and you're new to it, and all of a sudden everyone's rallying around this woman that's just having a bit of a struggle for a few months, helping out. Like, most people probably think that doesn't exist. So it's good that you got exposed to that. Hey, let's talk about a bit of advice. I know yesterday at the awards, we had a bit of an emphasis on new people there and catching up with older members and having one-to-ones. So a few months in, talk us through your experience and any tips or tricks you might give to someone that's in the same position, because there was a lot of people in that room when I got you to stand up yesterday. There was a lot of people in that room that were under 12 months.
Yeah. It's a weird one, and I guess I want to be respectful. Sort of referencing a person that's just left our group, left our chapter, and unfortunately for that person, they felt that they weren't getting the right outcomes for what they've got through the BNI, and that's fine and well and good. But they referenced at the start when they were, and they'd been in the chapter for about 2.5 years. It was great. Things were working, things were moving, things were grooving. Looking back on what it is, there was no real, I guess, input for them. So they were sort of a bystander of it all, and just letting things happen. And I just don't see the point of that. That you're paying money, you're coming to a meeting, you're taking time out of your work, you are doing this stuff to grow your business. Why not get involved with it all and throw your hand up to be the president, or or get tapped on the shoulder and be out, like that sort of stuff. I think if you can just throw yourself into something and really don't it doesn't matter. Like it's just something will come back of it. The quick gain, again, I've probably been more trained on this for everything that I've done in my life and sport and all sorts of stuff, but you can't bank on the immediate wins. It's just they run out. Your energy loses. You've got to look at a long-term burn. If this is what you're trying to do to build your business, it's not going to happen overnight. And as I said, I referenced to Cassie Candy at town, flying. She's number 4 on the sunny coast for sales. Like, it's someone that you want to be either a part of or competing against. And, we've had our battles in the living rooms without being in the rooms each other. But, I know that she wouldn't have got to that sort of point without the assistance of what BNI is. And I am sure that she put a lot more in than what she got out of it too. So I think, as horrible as it sounds, the giver's gain is probably the biggest thing that I can say, is just jump in, get done, just throw your hand up, help people. Just that it's the easiest way you can get the most out of this.
Well, it comes back to that visibility, credibility, profitability, the VCP process they talk about, right? So, you can't sort of join and just sit in the background and wait for it to come to you. Now, don't get me wrong. There's people like yourself that are real estate agents. It's a slow burn, right? You might get 1-2 leads a year, but they're good. You join as a Sparky, boom, you're away. Like the guys that you very employ in your own business, out of your chapter, all the trades, they hit it quickly. The one thing that, and I'm sure that you guys have probably had it in some of your slides of your chapter, the one thing is, when you look at those stats at the end of the month, and it's the one-to-ones versus the referrals versus closed business, that trend follows, those 3 graphs, they mirror each other, right? And it doesn't matter where you look at those graphs in any chapter around the world, they all the same mirror, right? Which just demonstrates, effort and then the reward. So, it's good that you emphasize that approach, because, you can't just you can't sit in the corner and expect it to be all right. You got to get in there. And part of that, and I harp on it a lot, and part of that is going cross chapter. Go go and do cross chapter things. Look, and real estate, obviously there's a real estate agent in every chapter. I'm here to tell you that not everyone in that chapter is going to use that real estate agent that's in their chapter, right? Or they might want a different opinion, or it might be in a different area. You might be a specialist on Buderim Hill, and they got a house 2 mile down the road, but their agent specialises, in Pelican Waters, for argument's sake. So I encourage people, even if the seat's taken in another chapter, to still go and visit, right? For your own personal growth, even just to see how other people work it, right? So yeah, good to see you got that approach going on. So look, what's next for Harcourts? The building looks ship shape up there on top of the hill. So you can't do anything with that. What's next?
So the big reason that I moved companies, and I was with the previous company for 3 years, and for me, I live in Baringa. My core area of reference is through the Aura development. I love it. I've got a 4-year-old who goes to Notre Dame down there, and she's belted every park in Fig Tree Park, and we know all the routes around. Like it's home, and that's the best thing for me. And my big move is that I wasn't going to be able to have the ability to grow with the suburb at the company that I was at. Harcourts do a really good job here with even Lauren McCarthy, who's in Palmview. She's been the leading agent for 5 years, so I want to replicate that for myself and move on to bigger and beautiful, better things. Next week, I put on a sales associate, Sky. I need it. You get to a point in this job where you need the help, and there was a great quote, and I'm going to misquote it from someone that in our real estate training. If you want to go it alone, you go short. If you want to go far, you build a team. So that's where I'm sort of seeing it at the moment, and to have the team of Harcourts and Nation Brand and all that sort of stuff that goes along with it, but then to start my own career with the sales associate is going to be really, really great. So there are plans to open a Harcourts Aura. How long that goes is how long the shopping centre will take, but let's not get into that. You don't talk about politics or religion or anything from there, but for me, my goals this year is to sell 50 properties down in Aura. We've had a really good start. My best competition will be Cassie Kennedy, which is always exciting to see through that. But mate, as long as I'm giving value to people, and even yesterday I got a text from someone that they bought another house from someone else, which is great. But I let them know about it. Like I said, look, this is probably not the one that you're going to look at because they came to one of mine. Here, have a look at this one. It's with this agent. Just do it yourself. Like, don't just have a look and go from there. They bought it and they're really, really appreciative of it and asking me questions that I'm sure that I haven't asked the guy that bought it off. So, just to be that really trusted and valued person in the community, and as much as I love Aura and everything, I've sold up at Gympie, we've sold down to the Gold Coast, like just where everyone thinks is value for me. That's my next step. So 50 this year, open an office. I've got my sales associate started next week where, we're flying, which is great.
I hope Sky knows what she's in for.
Well, look, I did a couple of silly social reels, which, they got clicks, but you get nothing out of them. But they were fun. And there was one that, a real estate agent getting kidnapped, and then the kidnapper put him in the boot just to shut him up. So I did that. And in her interview, she referenced it. So at least she knows who I am and how we do it. And she actually liked that. So if she's up for some silly reels, but getting down to work and going hard, she'll be right.
All right. Well, just check that workplace policy before you go locking her in any car.
Yeah, good call.
Hey, look, I know we're going to go over some old ground here, but what's the one core value that resonates with you for BNI?
Yeah. It's probably not what you think with the givers game, but I think it's a blend between accountability and building relationships. And again, that's been a pretty common theme with the agency you've had on there. It's invaluable, I think, in our industry, that you have to be accountable to what you say. You cannot walk in the door and give someone their biggest asset most of the time, the wrong information. You have to be given that value and accountability and be willing to stand behind it and either say, we got it wrong, or we're flying, that's great. But being able to build that relationship over time, it's the core of what I do here. And again, resonates with BNI sits it too.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Look, we know where you are up there on top of the hill, and I didn't know where you were just because it's across the road from the pub. But now that we know where you are, how else do we get in touch with you? Like some website details, phone numbers, and such.
Yep. You should be able to Google search Josh Butler Harcourts Aura. I do my work in the morning up here, and then we're back down into my home office down in Baringa. Anywhere down the coast from, as I said, Gympie to the Gold Coast, but specialise down and through there in Aura. But yeah, follow me on socials, Josh Butler Harcourts Aura, 0433 231 387 if you need to get a hold of me, or come along, give me a yell, come along to our chapter meeting on Friday morning. Down at the Meriden Plains Centre with us at the chapter.
Yeah, great. All right, everyone. I would encourage you, go and have a one-to-one with Josh. Get around him, and get down there and visit the chapter. And all success to you in the future, mate. It's fantastic to have you on. I'm glad you're red hot into BNI journey. And look, from my experience, I think you got the right attitude about the whole thing, and I think you're going to do really well out of it, mate. So well done.
Appreciate it, mate. And as I said, you did a great job with the emceeing. If they ever ask me, I'll make sure they refer back to you, Tony.
Yeah, and I'll you do that, and I'll tell people that you'll give free golf lessons on one.
Yeah, I like it. Referrals, it's working.
It'll be the longest one-to-one ever if you're playing with me. So no, all the best, mate. Look forward to seeing you, and we'll catch up soon.